Football fans, what's going on? We move on to match week number 3 here in the Premier League. We're on Pub Sports Radio. It's EPL on Pub, where we'll break down all 10 games here this week in the Premier League. I'm Jason. He's Matt. What's going on, man?
Elon Musk is not going to be the owner of Manchester United. That's what's going on, I guess.
I definitely got teased there for a few hours, so apparently it's a running joke, but I was teased. I was peaked.
I was definitely teased. I thought, normally when he's kind of just saying a bunch of his random stuff that he likes to do, I thought he was serious. And I got a little nervous there because I did not want to see Manchester United have Elon Musk as their owner.
Yeah, that could have honestly been their savior. That could have been exactly what they needed, a guy that was probably going to come in and spend money. Speaking of Manchester United, do you see the crazy transfer rumors the last couple of days? They're going to try and get Casemiro. Like, are you kidding me? Casemiro's going to leave the Bernabeu to come head to Old Trafford?
And
no chance.
Rabiot, that deal is off.
Of course.
And that's good that deal is off, in my opinion. But it's still just the wackiest transfer window that I've seen from somebody like this big before.
Well, let's go ahead and throw in a Bungyang this morning. Now he's rumored there, so we want to bring in another mental head case into that dressing room. That's exactly what that dressing room needs, is a Bungyang. Are you kidding me?
And Pulisic. Pulisic is rumored there now too. So who isn't rumored to Manchester United? They need all the help that they can get. Still the Ronaldo cloud looming over their heads. So yeah, it's funky right now. And then now you step in and it's a humongous match this weekend against Liverpool. So, I mean, both teams really need 3 points.
Absolutely massive right there. We look forward to breaking that one down, as we'll do all 10 of these matches here on Pub Sports Radio. Again, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you'll be notified of all the great content here on Pub Sports Radio, and hit that like button. And most importantly, we've got that comment section open. So as we run through these 10 games, let us know what some of your leans are. Let us know what some of your bets are for this weekend in match week number 3 in the Premier League. Let's go ahead and kick it off right now. It's Saturday morning. It all starts with Tottenham taking on Wolves. Looking forward to this matchup. I think we would both agree that Spurs are certainly the better side. When I look back at that Spurs game this past weekend against Chelsea, to me, it was really came down to the pressing, right? I thought Chelsea really handled the press that Tottenham was able to throw out of them. They were able to work it out of the back, where Spurs really struggled with that press. I think Chelsea was able to put on them. You saw numerous times them just knocking it back to Hugo and him just blasting it down the field to kind of get out of the pressure and, alleviate some of that pressure. But heading into this matchup here at White Hart Lane, Spurs are the better team. Wolves are done nothing so far on this season. I look for Spurs to get the win. I think this is maybe one of the classic money line and over 1.5 goals kind of a play here. What do you see it here, Matt?
Yeah, this is a tricky one. I mean, I think that Spurs do get the job done here at home. I mean, they've been fantastic at home under Conte in 2022. Wolves make a huge signing just really yesterday. They made a £42.5 million signing of the midfielder Mateus Nunes. I know that Liverpool had been tracking him. He's a Portuguese midfielder from Sporting, and they signed another Portuguese player. Wolves are basically the Portuguese B+ team. So they're really solid. It's a really nice signing. It's somebody that United probably should have been tracking and should have been able to get over the line. And here come Wolves signing a $42 million player essentially. So tough fixture though, especially when you look at, even the trends are going kind of head to head, because Spurs have won halftime, full time in their last 4 in the Prem. And then here's this one, Jason. I've mentioned it now for a while, but it has to be mentioned. 19 consecutive away matches in the Premier League. Wolves have not been beat at halftime. That's insane. Against all of the quality in this league, 19 straight on the road in the Prem, and they haven't been beat at halftime. So in their last 7 away in the league, 7 first half draws have come in. I see Spurs essentially as just a slightly better version of Wolves. I think that they're very similar. I think they're going to have similar kind of front threes in a way. Obviously, Kane is kind of the difference maker, and but yeah, this is a tricky fixture. I really don't have anything here that I like. Maybe Spurs in a parlay piece, but it's really, this match just completed pass for me.
It's crazy that you mentioned it first 2 weeks here on Pub Sports Radio about how the Wolves in that draw at halftime, and it keeps cashing. It just keeps cashing. It's one of those you can go back to the well. You've earned so much profits from previous cashes. So love that angle right there. See if it comes through for you here at White Hart Lane. Let's turn our attention out of the next game. It's Leicester versus Southampton. This is a match where I'm not interested at all in trying to pick a winner. I'm just going right to the goals market and saying, just give me goals. We know both of these teams will score them. I mean, both of these two teams will obviously concede them as well. So it's an easy piece. It's both teams will score, and it's over 2.5. And to me, you don't even overthink it. You play it and live with the result. Do you see it any different?
I don't. I mean, I kind of like Leicester a little bit. I do think that Leicester will have enough here at home to get the job done. Like, I'm not wanting to get really with Southampton that much, but I do think that Southampton will score because I think that Leicester's just defense. And I mean, yeah, this seems like this is probably the most clear cut over 2.5, or both teams are scoring over 2.5 on the card. Yeah, this is definitely making my card. This is probably a top 3 play on the slate. So yeah, BTTS over 2.5. If you want to, get a little more complicated with it, I think that BTTS and Leicester to win makes a lot of sense.
Love that stuff right there. Moving on here to another match here this weekend in the Premier League, match week number 3. We've got Crystal Palace taking on Aston Villa. We've got a Palace team that I think in 2 matches they've gotten outplayed pretty easily, I think, in both of them. Arsenal handled them in match week 1. And Liverpool, whether it was 11v11 or 10v11, I thought Liverpool had the upper hand. It was unfortunate that they gave up a goal kind of out of nothing. I think after Palace got the goal, they grew into that game a little bit for the next 10 minutes. But up until that goal, they didn't deserve that goal, in my mind, quite frankly. They got outplayed by Liverpool. So it'll be interesting to see how Palace responds here at home at Selhurst Park, where they've been better last season. There again will be welcome Villa here in the Selhurst Park. Villa coming off a nice win against Everton. Most teams will be beating, though, Everton, this season. Should have got the clean sheet. A little bit of an unfortunate there of an own goal. I struggled for this fixture, to be quite honest, with how Palace has just looked in 2 games. They've really struggled. This game won't be getting my money. Do you have a read on this one?
It's a tough one. I mean, I think that when you stack up the 11s, I think it's very even. I mean, I think that you could make a small case that Villa would have a slightly stronger 11, but then it gets, bounced back basically with the power of Selhurst Park and Palace being at home in front of their fans. I like Palace here a little bit. I think that Palace draw no bet is the way in. I like what I'm seeing from them. I know that they put some pressure on Arsenal in a tough match day 1. I think the Arsenal looked really solid. They've had 2 very difficult matches. I mean, it's been Liverpool and it's been Arsenal. I mean, those are tricky fixtures to open up your campaign. Villa have had a little bit more of a cakewalk here. Let's be real. We cashed a ticket on Villa last week to beat Everton. And then the week before against Bournemouth, I mean, it just was the opposite. They've played nobody. Palace has played everybody, essentially. I like Palace here. I think that Palace's defense is very good. I think that this is probably an unders match. I think that the line is correct when it says under 2.5 is the juice side at -134. I agree with that. And I like Palace on the draw no bet market a little bit. They haven't been bet yet, but those are the 2 ways that I think that you would be wanting to look. Palace, the home side, draw no bet, under 2.5. Those ones make more sense.
Yeah, the under 2.5, I could certainly get behind. I just can't see 3 goals. Like you said, Villa, I mean, they didn't even score against Bournemouth. I mean, the goals they gave up were all set pieces. I guess we disagree a little bit, but maybe I'm not factoring in Palace's opponents, right? Being Arsenal, being Liverpool. I have not been impressed in their 2 games whatsoever. Like I said, I thought 10-man Liverpool was still possessing the ball better and also flipping Palace over relatively easy. It seemed like definitely when it was 11v11, I mean, within 15 seconds. But Liverpool is a beast in this league.
Yeah, that's a different animal. And I thought that prior to the red card, I thought that Palace did everything that they're supposed to. I thought their tactics were spot on. They really mucked up the waters for Liverpool. There wasn't a ton of clear-cut stuff. So I think they've had 2 games, 2 completely different game plans. I think they've executed them halfway decently, and then now you finally get somebody that's more your level, and we'll see how it shakes out. So yeah, I wouldn't talk off anyone for passing this match either. I think it's very coin flippy.
All right, another match here, Everton versus Nottingham going on next. I think this is another tough one when you start looking at the 10 matches and you want to find yourself some good betting spots. I'm not sure this one's all that good. Boys, Everton, this feels like a game where they're going to have to clamp down here at Goodison Park and get some points. They're going to need some sort of result in this one, obviously with 2 opening defeats in their first 2 games. Newly Premier League team coming in here in Nottingham. I see this one being under 2.5, and it's going to be cagey.
Yeah,
low scoring, maybe a halftime draw. Nobody's running away with this one. To me, we'll see if I bet under 2.5, but I don't see much separation. I mean, Everton's going to struggle most of the season. Dean Henderson will keep them in it. So what do you see here, Matt? Under 2.5 is minus 121. Yeah, I would probably bet that.
I think that makes some sense. I guess my just first question when I saw this line is why are Everton like odds on favorites?
No reason to
on against anyone really. I mean, why? I know that I've mentioned I want to pick on Forest a little bit at the beginning of the season because they're just making all of these signings. I watched pretty much the entirety of West Ham and Forest, and I thought that Forest got extremely lucky to win that match. I think that at worst that should have been a draw for West Ham. I had a little bit on West Ham team total over 1.5, and I thought it was a horrendous beat. I thought that they could have scored 3 or 4. They had to bar twice.
That penalty though was terribly taken. Like
pen.
Why
was Declan Rice on that pen?
That's what I'm saying. You go through training camp, so to speak, and that's the guy that you come out and says that's our best kicker. He's sitting there with no pace. It's very comfortable save.
Yeah, that was a very comfortable for Henderson. And Henderson's a good person to point out in a fixture like this. You know, he can keep them in. Yeah. Why are Everton odds on here? So like that makes me immediately look, you can probably, if you search around, you can get Nottingham draw double chance at even money, probably if you look hard enough. Minus 107 on Barstool, minus 105 at some other shops. You can probably find plus 100 somewhere. And that makes a little bit more sense. They have more firepower, I think, up top. Like I think they have better forwards. Everton still have some when Everton don't have Yerry Mina in, I think that's a huge problem at the back. Godfrey's out, still no Lewin. Like this is going to be a close game. Like I want to have the plus half. I mean, you could even bump it up to a plus 3/4, and you pay a little bit of juice on that, and you say, okay, if Everton win this match, it's probably only by 1 goal, so I would only lose half my stake.
Mm-hmm.
That makes even more sense to me. So let me just dig in. I mean, I don't know if you have anything else to add on this match, but like that makes a lot of sense, Jason.
Yeah, if I'm betting it, I'm on under 2.5 or some Nottingham result in some fashion. Mm-hmm. Certainly will not be anybody winning by the margin. So keep it nice and low scoring. You can see Everton didn't do anything in that first half against Villa. Didn't even get a shot on target. So you can get maybe a draw in the first half, under 2.5 goals total. Yeah, something along those lines. Everton need a point at home at Goodison Park. They must show up here with the newbie and the Premier League and get some result. Results. They have to.
Plus 3/4, minus 140. I would be surprised if they lost by a margin here. And you got to think too, Jason, just the camp in general, all the new players coming in, what a big lift it must have been, regardless of the performance, to get the 3 points last week against a team like West Ham. And West Ham is a lot better than Everton. So that, this will be a tricky little road match and stuff, but I think that they go into it saying we can definitely grab a point here.
Yeah. Like that right there. All right, guys, we got the comment section open. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on EPL and Pub. Let us know what some of your best bets are. Let us know what some of your leans are as we move through these games. Let's keep it going here. We're getting Fulham is taking on Brentford here in this game. How good did Brentford look, or how bad did Manchester United look? I guess it depends on how you want to look at that. The fact is, get a nice 4-0 result against Manchester United. Meanwhile, for Fulham, obviously a good result in opening match week, taking on Liverpool. Then they come back with another draw in a 0-0 game against Wolves. Not too much action, generally speaking, in that game, in that 0-0 game. I'm looking for this one, though. I think there will be goals being scored in this one. I think Fulham can certainly score at home. Brentford will be adding to it. I think this is another one on the card that you can look at over 2.5 goals. I'm seeing goals in this one, Matt. You seeing them with me?
Seeing goals. Like I'm only looking at Brentford here. Like I'm zeroed in on Brentford. I think that Brentford can score 2 goals. I watched the second half of Fulham Wolves. I mean, I don't think that Fulham really inspired. There was a cheap little penalty given away. But I don't know. This match is really tricky. I think that my only way in that I really like is I like Brentford plus a quarter. I think I like Brentford plus a quarter at -130, -125, somewhere in that range. I think that Brentford are better. I think that they're a better team. I think that Fulham still legitimately haven't scored a fair goal this season. I think that both the goals against Liverpool could have been chalked off by VAR.
Yeah.
And then the missed pen, which, I mean, they could have grabbed all 3 points. Fulham could be looking at having 4 points in this league with a magical start to having 2, still a solid start. But I think that Brentford, I know that United were in like complete disarray last week and stuff, and it is hard to take something from that. But you match these 2 teams up on paper, get the lineups that I want. Like I think that Brentford find a way to grab a point here.
Grab a point. All right. I always love when I go through an entire match week. I love putting together like a double chance parlay at -175. Brentford makes a double chance parlay, I think.
Yeah.
I actually like that. All right, let's move over now to Bournemouth versus Arsenal. This one, I don't think anybody's going to doubt. Arsenal's certainly the better team, but does that mean you can get the win? Let's look at this Bournemouth team. They took an opening win there against Villa, but it took 2 set pieces goals. And then obviously they get trounced by Manchester City, but everybody gets trounced. Meanwhile, for Arsenal, looking really good. Clean sheet against Crystal Palace, another good win. 4-2 win against Leicester. Gabriel Jesus got on the score sheet, obviously, in his home debut there for Arsenal. I look at Arsenal probably more of a team total. I think that they can come away and get the 3 points. This is one of the 2 undefeated teams left in the Premier League this season after 2 weeks. Like them to probably get the 3 points, but I'm probably only to bet that Arsenal team total. I believe they can go in on the road and get 2 goals and at plus money. I like that one.
So that's what it is. Plus money on team total over 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? I think it's minus 200.
I saw. Let me look. Maybe I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. My fault. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, this is. So this comes down to, I think this week, I think that the theme is, Jason, we got to come up with kind of a theme of each week.
It had the bounce back theme last week.
The bounce back theme was last week. I think it did well. I think it was generally really successful. Last week was a good week. This week, this card's a little bit tougher. I think that this card's theme is, who do you trust to get the job done? And some of these, because that the parlays are going to be piling up. Okay. Mm-hmm. The parlay, there's a lot of iffy, questionable parlays. It starts with Spurs at home against Wolves. Then it comes over to Arsenal at 12:30, the main match all alone, Arsenal against Bournemouth. This is a great spot for Arsenal to pick up another 3 points. Then you've got Chelsea on the road, City on the road, and then you've got like this big Monday night under the lights match at Old Trafford, which I don't know if it's really worthy of a parlay piece. But which ones, I guess, out of those, Jason, if you could pick 2, who do you trust the most? Chelsea are minus 190 at Leeds, and City are minus 265 at Newcastle, Arsenal minus 240 at Bournemouth, and Spurs minus 278 at home versus Wolves. Pick 2. Who do you trust?
City and Liverpool. That's pretty easy for me.
Oh, Liverpool. Yeah, okay. So you like City and Liverpool. I think that's probably that is probably a good one.
Sorry, I thought you did say Liverpool. If you didn't say Liverpool, the next one I would probably trust is Chelsea more than Arsenal to probably get it done. Probably Chelsea City.
Okay. Yeah, it's really a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
This one do you trust? Because I don't think that all 4 or 5 are going to come in. So who's going to be the coupon buster, I guess you could say. So,
well, based on how this season's gone, and Jeff said it there in the comment section, it's been Liverpool. They've been taking everybody's money. They've been the parlay busters of the season so far, by far,
and
without a doubt.
Thank God. Oh, I'm sorry. I see that, Jason, because Jeff, I'm the 15K. That makes my heart hurt. But for whatever reason, I haven't included them on any parlays yet. So I feel like I've dodged some bullets on that. But
yes, kudos to you.
I mean that red card just sucked. The Fulham one was. I think that one really hurt. I thought that there was no pen. But yeah, I mean, let's move it on here, I guess, to this Arsenal matchup. This is. You cannot, when you map out Arsenal's schedule, like when I looked at it and I spoke with one of my buddies who's an Arsenal fan, you couldn't have mapped out a better opening schedule. You really, I mean, now you go on the road to Bournemouth here. Arsenal are going to win. It's just, I think they're going to win. I think I trust them. I trust them just as much as I trust Chelsea and City and
like it.
So I think that they win, but how do you extract the value out of it? And maybe going on the road, they put in a tidy performance because so Leicester, for example, they're so up and down with their defense. They want to play these high octane basketball type matches. So I mean, but this one on the road against Bournemouth, who are going to sit back, they sat back decently against City. They're going to have the same game plan here at home. This to me looks like Arsenal and under 3.5 is the best way to extract the value. Plus 112, plus 115, wherever you're looking. Under 4.5, it's just not good enough. Minus 148. But I would like to think here that Arsenal's defense is good enough to keep a clean sheet, grab a 2-0, maybe it's 2-1. I think this one says under 3.5, Arsenal and under 3.5. Plus 112. That is probably the best way in.
Arsenal plus 3.5 or plus under 3.5 is the way to go for you. Let's turn our attention now to Sunday games. Let's kick it off here with the first one. We've got West Ham versus Brighton. I'm looking forward to this game, to be quite honest. Brighton's got 4 points. West Ham's got 0 points. Brighton's looked really good. They outplayed Manchester United. They outplayed Newcastle. They had Newcastle absolutely scrambling, and that is outside of the clearances that they had off the line. If that's not a Nick Pope game, Brighton walks away with 3 points. They had Newcastle absolutely on the back heels, scrambling through parts of that game. West Ham, we mentioned them, a touch unfortunate against Nottingham. That is what it is. This one's going to be absolutely tough. Tough to me, low scoring, under 2.5, I think, without a doubt. You look at the head-to-head, 6 of the last 7 have all been with a draw, and 3 of those 6 have all been 1-1 draw. I'm absolutely looking at a nice low-scoring game. Nothing separates these two teams. I think it will be in a draw, but I feel a little bit more confidence taking the under 2.5 goals in this one. What about for you?
I guess that one's just scary to me. Just after watching West Ham and how many they could have had last week, and then Brighton are just so creative at times. This is probably the no complicator of the week. It looks like to me. Suck up some juice here because we're going on a juice stroll here, Jason. Because the last, like you mentioned, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 7 straight BTTS. Yes, we're gonna make it 8 here. I think that both teams find the back of the net minus 135 to minus 140. Let's just ride that trend out here. I think that both these defenses still need a little bit of work. I think that both offenses are good enough, more than good enough to keep, to find the back of the net, really. I don't want to pick a winner. I do think that West Ham are good enough. If you wanted me to pick this would be the classic. I would go West Ham minus a quarter here. Minus a quarter. If you want to bounce back, if you want to go back to the week of the bounce back, that's this one, I think. You look at match day 1, they play against Man City in a very difficult matchup, which they just were never in. Okay. So scrap that match. That match doesn't even count. Last week, they should have won on the road at Forest. They absolutely should have. The ball didn't bounce their way. They're going to be coming in here pissed off here on essentially like a double revenge spot here to collect their first 3 points. Brighton, I need to see more. I still am worried about the Cucurella and the Basuma. I know that, like, look, they got Man United, who, like, United are just in the worst way possible. And then, yeah, they had a home match against Newcastle, and they couldn't collect all 3. That is what it is. I thought that was a tricky matchup, but this is a little different. I think that West Ham are still a slightly higher class. I like West Ham -0.25 a little bit, but I think that the best way in here is to ride that trend and make it 8 straight, both teams to score yeses in this matchup.
Both teams to score, and also both teams to score for Danny as well. He's going to jump on that trend with you and see if they both can't find the back of the net. I guess we see this one a touch different. That's, part of the great part about football, right? I tell you what, you mentioned Cucurella, also Basuma left Brighton, but Graham Potter's been doing great. Love Graham Potter as a manager. Obviously, I thought they outplayed United and Newcastle in both of those fixtures. I'm liking what Graham Potter does most seasons. I think this is a really good club. I'm looking for a draw in under 2.5. So we can both cash. Let's get that 1-1 finish. We can just cash all 3 of these bets. That's what I want to see right there. All right, let's move it along now to Leeds versus Chelsea. Again, we are kind of touched on this. I do think Chelsea's obviously the better team. Do they probably win? I think they probably do it. Likely comes down to, do you believe Leeds can find the back of the net? Because from a head-to-head perspective, Chelsea have won 3 of the last 4, coming off a clean sheet last season as well. Won both games both fixtures last season in the campaign. Love their fight, obviously, against Tottenham. You got managers fighting. You got just unbelievable match right there. With both of those managers were clearly just getting under each other's skin, and I loved it. I loved every part of that. So Chelsea's the better team. Does Leeds find the back of the net at home? I think they probably can apply enough pressure. Will Mendy, though, come up with these worldly saves? Seems like he does every single week to keep a clean sheet. That's where I struggle with. Clean sheet, or just maybe Chelsea win by 2-1, 3-1, something along those lines.
Yeah, so I want to look into that because we haven't been able to talk about the Conte-Tuchel thing. And so what is Tuchel? He's suspended, right?
I'm sure they both are. They both got red cards. So I don't know if it is for this match or if they'll appeal it or how that process goes down. I haven't read anything about that yet, but they should both be suspended at some point for on the touchline.
Reds, are they? I think they might potentially. I think it might be a 3-match ban if it's a straight red, just like a player. Conte's wasn't straight red. His was a yellow and a red for Conte. Oh, really?
It's just crazy. Did you see Tuchel when he's like, he wasn't looking me in the eye during the handshake? Go look at the tape and see where you're looking, big guy. I don't think you were quite looking at Conte's eyes there either. So I just love it. Those 2 managers. The way he runs down the touchline and Conte's like, I'd have tripped him. Can't run past my bench. I'd have tripped him if I could. Love it.
Yeah, that was incredible. Like, that was some of the best stuff I've seen. I watched the whole match. I had some Spurs +0.25 in pocket. It was a complete loser. And then there's Kane in the very end to scrap out a half, winner, basically. That was cool. Chelsea were by far the better side.
Yeah, like I said, I thought they dealt with the pressure a lot better. I thought that was done in a little dirty on my under 2.5 because some of those goals were fouls related. I think it should have been 1-1 instead of 2-2. But
yeah, and I don't disagree with that either. And then, you did see finally though that Spurs, like some of the subs that they made, made a little bit of an impact in that second half, and it changed the game a little bit. So, in this one, I got this feeling like Leeds don't really stand a chance here.
Okay, so you're thinking Chelsea clean sheet then of some capacity. Win.
I don't want to get on any, I don't ever want to bet against Leeds to not score, because I just think that Rodrigo, he's flowing right now. He's got 2 or 3 goals already this season. Aronson is going to be one of the best signings, I think, in the league. I think the longer the season goes on, the more and more, with Pulisic not getting as much play time versus Aronson playing week in and week out, by the World Cup time, you're going to be like, which player is better? I truly believe that, unless Pulisic leaves Chelsea. I think that Aronson is right there.
That's got to be the dumbest transfer window, right? The American owner is going to sell the biggest American star. Are you kidding me? Pulisic's not going anywhere.
I know. He's probably not. So This one, this is what bugs me sometimes. I wish I could find like an Asian line on total goals for Chelsea. Like it's dead nut. It should be dead nuts over 2. I want over 2 goals because over 1.5 is -180 and over 2.5 is +188. It's right in the middle. It'd be right at even odds. That's where I see Chelsea having some flow here. So, I mean, I think that, Chelsea and over 1.5 at -132 is the best way in here. I think that Chelsea do collect all 3 here. I think they refocus after that London derby here and travel up north a little bit. Leeds, it's not an easy place to go, but I think that they're second best here.
Yeah, and you also can get Chelsea to score in both halves at +130. So lots of good angles to go in and jump on that match. But we do see Chelsea both collecting the 3 points in that one. Let's go ahead and knock out the last 2 games. We're headed to Manchester for both of these. Let's start with the Blues first. You got Newcastle at St. James Park welcoming Manchester City into town. This is a battle for Europe, Matt. How about first place taking on 5th place in the table? A battle for Europe. Look, Nick Pope showed his value. I've talked about him on several shows. He absolutely showed his value last week in getting Newcastle that 1 point. If that's not Nick Pope, that's definitely a loss going against Brighton. Brighton, like I said, they outplayed Newcastle. I think it goes back to the same thing we just talked about in the Chelsea game in terms of, is it win to nil? Same question could be asked right here in Manchester City. Is this one a win to nil? They've obviously dominated the head-to-head like they've done against a lot of opponents. 2 clean sheets in a row, and 5 of the last 6 have been via the clean sheet against Newcastle. So a team that Guardiola has absolutely dominated. I can't see much of that changing. I'm probably going to go clean sheet. If I had to take a guess, Manchester City to score in both halves looks awfully sexy. Haaland didn't get on the score sheet last week up against Bournemouth. That's always the risk, though, when you also take him in an anytime goal-scoring parlay, is you see that City is going to generally be up 3-ish, nothing, let's say, in most of their half times, and then they pull him, and then you get burned on your anytime goal-scoring parlay. So there's always a risk right there. I like City, dominated the head-to-head, dominated in clean sheets. Give me them to score in both halves. Give me clean sheet, something along those lines.
I mean, yeah, look at that. Like 9-0 last year was this fixture in the full aggregate.
Yeah.
4-0 and 5-0. They haven't been beat by Newcastle or dropped points to Newcastle in 2019. It's been a long
yeah.
That's a long time ago. And so Haaland definitely screwed me over a little bit last week. He didn't even have any chances, really. That's what shows you, even someone like as good as Erling Haaland, this robotic, cash the over 20 live viewers. Let's go then. Like someone robotic like Haaland, for example, though, Jason, like he didn't have a sniff of it. He did really well. The combination play with him and Gundogan, that assist was just picture perfect. But
Foden can't square him the ball at the top of the box, though, and give Haaland on his left boot to score your parlay. I mean, it was right there. Foden just had to square him the ball. And instead, Foden takes it and misses it. Yeah.
There was one that definitely could have been squared to the left boot. But it just shows you, again, how tough it is for sometimes central strikers in this league when everybody's sitting back. And there's this low block, and Bournemouth just want 11 men behind the ball. And so he barely had a couple looks here. But again, this is what I'm hoping. Jason, can you just quickly check anytime goal scorer on DraftKings?
I'll check it. I will say this.
Price again. Because I'm going to go right back to it. Like I like this road matchup. He scored on the road in match day 1 against West Ham at -125. This one's going to be maybe 135, but I'm very interested. And I'm, as I look at a 9-0 aggregate from last season, I look at this might be the time for Erling Haaland to get another brace and maybe the Hattie to score 2 goals on Barstool is +370. And then it's the 15-1 shot on a Hattie.
I'm seeing -175 for Haaland to find the back of the net at least one time. -175. Here's the thing with Manchester City, and I hit a Manchester City same game parlay last weekend. I did them to have a clean sheet, and then I picked out De Bruyne and Foden to both be goal scorers and got a nice 3-legged, almost 6-1 parlay there. But it's always risky with City. The goals are coming anywhere. Gundogan, Rodri are firing them from the top of the box. obviously any winger, Holland. It's tough picking out goal scorers, with the Manchester City game. I feel like I got a little fortunate last week. So, all right. Yeah, I like Holland, though, to find the back of the net. I mean,
so maybe this is the best price. Minus 150 to score is on Barstool. Maybe that's the best price. I'll need to look around. If anybody in the chat, if if there's a better price on Holland to score, then I'd be very interested in that. Maybe it's offshore. Maybe you can find like a minus. You can probably find, if you can find a 150 on Barstool, that means that somewhere it's probably around 140. And I'm interested in that. And I'm kind of interested in laddering Holland, to be honest. Like 9-0 last season, Jason, in this aggregate.
Yeah.
9-0. Why can't this be the time? So I take Holland minus 150 to score. I'm going to take him at plus 370 to score twice. And I'm going to take him to have a hat trick at 15-1.
I do know, and I don't know off the top of my head, but I remember betting a lot of City versus Burnley games because, in those games they would get a lot of possession. It's not like Nick Pope saved Burnley in those games. They were still conceding goals to Manchester City and giving up. So Danny's got a nice angle there in the chat. He's got City in over 2.5 at minus 115. I love it. I absolutely love it. With what this head-to-head has shown, Danny, I think you can bank on goals and bank on City pulling off a win, like they'll be doing most weekends. Guys, make sure you hit that like button. Hit that like button and let us know you're enjoying this content. Again, drop in some of your best bet. Drop in some of your leans as you're enjoying Pub Sports Radio. We've got the EPL talk. We only got one more game. It's Monday night in the Premier League. It's Matt's Liverpool. Take it on my Manchester United. I'm obviously hoping for a whop down and we lose big time, so we can get in a real transfer instead of flopping through this transfer window. Liverpool was a better team over Fulham. They were the better team over Palace. Man United's looked terrible in 2 games against Brighton and Brentford. I'm expecting a Liverpool win, expecting them to get 3 points for the first time this season. United, again, watching the game, you look at their bench. It's like, who we bringing on? You want nobody to come off that bench. They're a mess. You know what? They're starting in their midfield last week. Fred, Bruno, and Eriksen, and they're asking Eriksen to be the player that sits deep. He ain't putting his foot in on a challenge. At least put the Portuguese sitting a little deeper. Bruno will put his foot in on a challenge. Eriksen, he ain't doing that. He's going to do the old 40-year-old man, just stick a leg out there and lean back because he don't want to get hurt. And midfield is atrocious. The whole team's atrocious. Liverpool's going to win. Work them into a team total. People will say Man U will get up at home at Old Trafford. You don't think Liverpool will get up for a chance to bury Manchester United? I'm all on Liverpool.
Yeah, this one is I'm struggling with this one. It's come down too, Jason. I think when it opened, Liverpool were like hovering around 190. It's come down a little bit. It's in like the 165 range now. And just like I mentioned, Newcastle versus Man City, 9-0 aggregate. I have to mention Liverpool 9-0 aggregate last season against Manchester United.
I was hoping you didn't bring that up. Thank you.
I see. I'm looking at the numbers right in front of me. I cannot not say
it. You could have not said it. Could have just not said it.
I couldn't. I mean, this is the best rivalry in all of the league here. Monday night under the lights at Old Trafford doesn't get any better than this. I'm going to just say that this is something that it wouldn't have worked last year. It really actually wouldn't have worked in the last 5 head-to-heads if you include the FA Cup. But generally, like this one, there's going to be no Nunez, so I'm assuming Firmino comes back into the lineup if he's fully fit.
Yeah.
I think that under 3.5 goals at minus 155 makes sense. I really do. Like, I think that but I think that this is totally a lineup checker. Like, I think that somebody made a good point I saw on Twitter. Like, if he starts Varane and Bailly and then plays the new player from Ajax at the CDM.
What? They're going to start Varane and Bailly?
If they did, this would be a really good game, basically. I don't know if that is going to be the case. It's probably not. But yeah, this one is so tough. I don't have a bet on it yet, but I'm telling you, just like from watching this match, this is going to be so high octane. I would assume that Nat Phillips has lost his starting position after what he couldn't hold the line against Zaha, and it didn't do a good job yet. Northender's perfect right there. Liverpool's lineup was a shame. That's kind of why you have to wait, I think, on this one a little bit, see how your weekend goes. But for me, I think that Gomez will probably pair Van Dijk. I think that Liverpool have what it takes to keep a clean sheet in this one. They definitely do. They did it twice last year, home and away. I think that Liverpool right now are struggling in front of net. I do. I think that they're the new face of Nunez, to see who's going to be in the midfield here. That was maybe a big spark for Luis Diaz last week. That was one hell of a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch that one back. It takes on 6 players and scores against a 10, with only 10 men on his side. So something just tells me here, like, yes, this is juicy. Under 3.5 minus 155. I like that a lot more than even going like the 3.25 route or the under 3 route at plus 108. I'm just telling you, this is going to be tight. This is going to be cagey. I think they're going to have to. Ten Hag's going to find some way to muck this thing up, because if he goes out there and just wants to play Ajax ball, this will have 7 goals in it and they will lose. So, Danny Lopez says, I think we're seeing some regression from Liverpool. I disagree. Like, I think that they're fine. I would just say it is tough. I mean, when you lose a top 5 player in the world in Sadio Mane, there is going to be a small little bit of regression, but I do think that Luis Diaz and him are very similar as left wings. And we just need to see what Nunez is about. He can't be doing some Luis Suarez Uruguayan biting and head butting and all of that stuff. He's got to keep his cool. I wish that he was in this match. I would be a lot more interested. Maybe that's the line move, actually. That's why the line moved. It was minus 190. Now you're like star striker. He's really good still, is out. The line moves. It moves down a little bit, and that makes sense. So, this is a wait and see, I think, Jason. I think this match is going to be closer than what the odds are reflecting.
All right. Well, be careful to everybody out there thinking both teams will score. Obviously United is at home there in Old Trafford, but both teams will score have not been kind in this fixture. Liverpool, as Matt said, has been able to hold a clean sheet. I would be nervous, Matt, with your under 3.5.
I know.
United.
It's a for sure hold your nose and hope on the best. But I think that just after watching this over all these years, how big this match is, I trust Virgil and Gomez to not give up more than 1. I agree. I think that they're either giving up 0 or 1. And I think that Liverpool's offense is not flowing right now enough for me to tell you Liverpool team total over 2.5. No doubter. No, I think this is 2-1 to either side.
Maybe this could be a corners market. Maybe this could be a corners market in this game. I'm looking forward to it. Even as a Manchester United fan, I think Liverpool gets it done. That would be interesting. All right, let's see how the weekend goes, see all the profits we got and how much money we can go ahead and throw at that game, as that one's not until Monday afternoon. All right, guys, that's the Premier League right here on Match Week number 3. Thank you guys for enjoying Pub Sports Radio. This is EPL on Pub. We're with you guys every single week. Make sure you do a couple things. Make sure you turn on that notifications. There's a lot of other great content right here on Pub Sports Radio that you want to make sure you watch. Enjoy Match Week number 3. Hit that like button on your way out. We'll see you guys back here next week.